Hi everyone, welcome to Watch It Play It Table Talk. My name is Rodney Smith, and this week's discussion topic comes to us from one of our fundraiser donors, Jonathan Lassard, who asks, when and how should we introduce gaming to young children? This is an interesting question because sometimes we find ourselves as gamers in short supply of other gamers to share our hobby with. I know I've found this from time to time, and even if you do find another gamer, then you have to get your schedules to line up so you can get together. It can be a challenge. So you can reduce that challenge significantly if under your own roof you can find someone who shares an interest in the hobby. Now, if your wife or your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, or roommate aren't into gaming, then you may turn your attention to those young, unsuspecting creatures who live in your home, your children. They're impressionable. They think the world of you. And when you ask them, hey, would you like to play a game with Dad? You're probably going to get a pretty enthusiastic response, and that's going to feel good. You're going to eat that right up. Hey, here's somebody who wants to play a game with me. Yes, because they have no idea what kind of game you're going to be introducing them to. At the 30-minute mark of explaining Agricola to them, their interest may be starting to wear off a little bit. So, should we introduce games to our children? Yes. The answer is yes. Games, especially the games that we enjoy in our hobby, involve lots of problem-solving, decision-making, assessing risk, learning to value things so you can be good at negotiating and trading. And that's to say nothing of just the simple social interaction skills of communicating clearly and standing up for yourself and also being a good winner and a good loser. And in this very digital age where we're disconnecting from one another for so many different reasons, this is an activity that brings us together and puts us face to face and connects us. So I think these are all wonderful things about our hobby that our kids should be introduced to, and I think that we should do that at as young an age as we can possibly do. But the trick here is, I think, especially at the early ages, you have to be gaming with your children for their sake and not for your own. And that means you're probably going to have to start by playing a lot of games that you are personally not going to enjoy very much. Now, that's not to say that kids' games are bad, by any means. Many of them are quite enjoyable, but I think as an adult, it's harder for a child's game to hold our attention and be as satisfying to play over and over again like it might be for a child. So that's certainly one of the challenges we have to face. Now, one of the secrets that I found, one of the real tips I would share with you, was keep gaming special. I think our impulse is to play games as much and as often as we can. When Luke was very young, I picked up a game called Caribou. You see a picture of it on the screen right now, bright and colorful. It has these balls that are hidden randomly behind these little windows that you open up, and when you find the ball, you put it in the hole over on the far right side there in that blue area. When that blue area fills up with balls, the treasure chest at the end pops open and you collect the treasure. So pretty exciting for a kid. Luke's eyes got big and wide when he saw this. Of course he wanted to play, and we did 2 times. And then I said, okay, Luke, let's put this game away and we'll get it out again, you know, and do this later. So a couple days later, we bring it out again and we played a couple more times, we put it away. By doing this, by making gaming like this special, it kept Luke's interest, it kept him hungry and wanting to play it. Whereas if we just sat down and played it 20 times in a row when we brought it home, probably would have started to get bored with it, it sort of become a chore. Instead of gaming being the core activity that we were doing, it was something unique and special that we did. Now that they're older, I'm probably much more guilty of succumbing to the inclination that I have to want to push games in their faces more often because I know they can handle it and because they know that that's what Dad's into. But I think it's really important when they're very young. I mean, if you can keep it special like that, I think you will keep their interest in the hobby and have them more interested to try out more things with you. Now, if you get a sense that your child is enjoying gaming, maybe would be able to tolerate longer periods of it, maybe it's time to kick it up a notch, bring out something more advanced. I remember we brought out Carcassonne, and the first time Luke and I sat down with it, all we did was just play with the tiles. We didn't play the game, we discovered what it meant to match them up and actually build the cities correctly and put roads together, and that's all we did. We just had fun doing that. I think the next time you saw the game played, it was between Christy, my wife, and I. We played a match, and Luke sat on my lap. And while we played the pieces and did things back and forth, he got to see how the game was played. And I would explain to him as I did things, and I would let him place the meeples or turn the tiles around and fit them in different ways. But because he wasn't directly playing, he wasn't really attached to whether he was winning or losing or not, because again, he wasn't actually playing. And that takes some of the pressure off as well, as he's just sort of learning the game and how it works. When we did sit down and actually play, we house ruled it a little bit actually. I just took out the farmer rules. So it made the game simpler, easier for him to understand. And then once he kind of got those basics down, it was easy to add in one more element like the farmer and sort of help him figure that out. But a big part of this, I think, is being really patient, not being in a rush. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't like I was having a ton of fun every time we sat down and played Carcassonne that way. Personally, I wanted to play with the farmer rules. I wanted to, be doing those different and more interesting strategic tactical moves. But I was playing the long game here. Okay, I was sacrificing some of my own personal enjoyment to be able to watch him enjoy it so that in the long run, we could have a more enjoyable and fulfilling experience together. And something else that I feel is really important is how you handle winning and losing. I never celebrated when I won. I never really reacted when I lost. I wanted the emphasis to be on the activity that we were spending most of our time doing, the actual playing of the game. That was where the fun was going to be. It wasn't who won and who lost the game. Obviously, there's some element in there, even at those early stages, but I just tried to take all of the focus off of that as best I could. And then, of course, as Luke got older and I felt like he was playing games for the enjoyment of playing them, then it was fine to introduce competitiveness and playing a little harder on him and trying to beat him. Because having a motivation, trying to do your best, knowing that you can do better and improve, that's also a valuable lesson. But we always made a point, no matter who won or lost, we would shake each other's hand at the end of a game and we would say to each other, good game. It was kind of a cute, funny thing we did, kind of to be funny, but at the same time, it was reinforcing that idea of why we were there in the first place, which was to have a good game. After that, it's pretty simple, really. I mean, find themes of games that they enjoy and provide them with more of them and see if they take to it. And you know what? Test the edges every now and then. Go for it. Give them that trading in the Mediterranean game. Who knows? Maybe they'll really enjoy it. And that just tells you something more about the kind of games that they like. But I always say, if there's certain games they have a lot of fun playing, make sure you're going back to those as well and not just always introducing them to the new games that you're really excited about. And it's not that I don't think some of these things are common sense, but I think as a discussion topic, it's just good to cover even some of the very basic and simple things. Speaking of which, I think another great kind of game to play is cooperative games, because then, of course, you're working together and you can really get in there and give them suggestions about what to do. And you know what? It's another great opportunity for them to see modeling good behavior of winning and losing, because when you lose together, they get to see how you react. And if you're handling it well, it kind of makes them go, okay, well, if Dad can handle losing, I guess I can handle losing too. You know what I mean? So that's one of my tips. One of the things and one of the reasons why I think introducing gaming to children when they're young is a good idea is because it's one of the few activities you can do with them where you can almost completely level the playing field. I've said this before as an example. If I was playing a game of basketball with Luke when he was 5, I'm going to win every single time. He doesn't have a chance. I have to actually totally dumb down how I'm playing in order to make him feel like he has any competence level at all. But if we sit down, we play a game of Yahtzee or King of Tokyo or something that has just some random elements, Luke has a shot of winning, legitimately. And that's a real confidence booster, and it's exciting for you as a parent to see them do that and win. So again, we have to be careful about how much we push the hobby on young children, because at the end of the day, the hobby is supposed to be for fun and enjoyment. At least that's what I think anyway. It's not like doing chores and eating your vegetables. Those are things you should insist on whether your children want to or not. But the hobby is not necessarily going to be for everyone, and your children just may not be gamers. But the best opportunity you have to create an environment for them to become gamers is if you keep it fun, I think. But now I'd like to pass it over to you and see what you think. Do you have some good tips? Have you had some success with your children? Have you maybe learned some things that didn't work out well, ways that maybe you shouldn't? Do you maybe feel like introducing games to young children is a bad idea? Maybe you have some good reasons for that. Well, I'd love to hear about it. Put it in the comments below this video. And we also really enjoy getting video responses. Try to keep it to 4 minutes or less. It helps me pick through them a little easier. But record a video and then send me the link to it. And then in the next episode, I'm going to share some of those comments we received as well as clips from those videos and put it all together. We're going to dive into this a little bit deeper. So I hope you'll join me for that. Until the next episode, thanks for watching.